This week is parshas Va'Yatzei. Parshas Va'Yatzei, the beginning discusses Yaakov traveling. Yaakov is escaping from his brother Esav. Esav had become angry, very angry, because Yaakov stole the brachos that Esav thought were rightfully his. Therefore, Esav wanted to kill Yaakov, and Yaakov was escaping, running away, fleeing from his brother Esav. As he is fleeing from his brother Esav, the pasuk says that Vayifka b'makom, that Yaakov encountered the place. What does this mean that Yaakov encountered the place? So Rashi explains. First of all, Vayifka b'makom, he encountered the place means that Yaakov was traveling, and he had a sudden jump. He was taken from one place to another. He traveled a very long distance in a very short period of time. This is what they call kfitzas haderech. Hashem wanted him to travel to get to a certain place, so he got there much quicker than he thought he would. But Rashi explains further. Normal kfitzas haderech means that the person travels at a faster speed miraculously and gets to a certain place quicker. But this time it's not that Yaakov got to the place, which actually happened to be the place of the eventual temple would be built. He didn't get to the place quicker, it's the place came to him. So, obviously everything is miraculous over here, and I'm not sure if miracles, how do you bring the place to the person as opposed to the person to the place, but that's what Rashi says, that instead of the normal kfitzas haderech, miraculous traveling, where the person takes a shorter amount of time to travel a very long distance, in this case, Yaakov didn't travel faster, it's that the place itself, which was his destination, came to him. Okay. So now there's something else we learn from this phrase also, which is very important, is that Yaakov was davening. This language, and he encountered the place, means that Yaakov encountered, he had a connection, a communication. He was talking to God. He encountered the place, and one of the names of Hashem is Makom, is place. That Hashem is the place of the world, and not the world is the place of Hashem. So, the issue is what's the connection between these two very seemingly distant understandings of Vayifka b'makom? And just for the record, Rashi says both of these. So, the Sfas Emes explains that kvitzas haderech, the encountering a place, moving at a quicker speed, or in this case specifically, where the place itself comes to the person, is very, very connected to davening. He says, when we daven to Hashem, when we pray to God, what we're doing is we're building a relationship with God. We're recognizing that we need Hashem, and we are His people. And that recognition comes through the fact that we recognize that we ask Hashem for all these things because we need to ask Hashem for all these things, because without Him we would never have these things. Now, as you build that relationship, the Sfas Emes says, you become closer to Hashem. And he says that transformation that happens through prayer of our relationship with Hashem is just like this type of kvitzas haderech, of a quicker traveling. It's not that we move faster, it's that Hashem comes to us quicker. That our relationship, where we felt how close we were to Hashem, now Hashem is that much closer through that davening. And that is why, in this same two words, Vayifka b'makom, when he encountered the place, we find both this idea of a special type of kvitzas haderech, where the place comes to the person instead of the person miraculously coming to the place, and we also learn that that Yaakov davened, and he specifically davened Mariv. The question I wanted to talk about is that in the beginning of this week's parsha, we see many indications that something changed about Yaakov. We see that there is this miraculous episode where he decides to rest, and there's many rocks. He puts many rocks surrounding him to protect himself from the wild. And the Medrash says that each one of the rocks said, Ami, the tzaddik, the righteous man, should rest his head, and miraculously all of the rocks turned into one rock. Also, we find in the Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, which is a more extensive Aramaic commentary very early commentary on the verse, that states that the rocks actually were 4 rocks, and it symbolized to Yaakov that he would have 4 wives, and all 4 wives would only have righteous children, as opposed to, if you remember, his father and grandfather both had 1 righteous child and 1 not so righteous child. But he would have the house of Jacob would be entirely righteous. So, if you think about it for a second, what changed all of a sudden that Yaakov is all of a sudden getting all of these miraculous things happening to him? He encounters God. God tells him that there's going to be exiles and he's going to return him to the land that he promised. Well, what's going on all of a sudden that Yaakov all of a sudden is getting all these transmissions from God, miracles are happening to him? Yaakov is not a young man anymore, or he is young, but not that young. And why all of a sudden that he is fleeing from his brother Esav, after quote-unquote stealing the blessings, all of a sudden all of these epic events are occurring to Yaakov. Have a good Shabbos.